Someone drank from this glass recently. Rum, a sailor's drink.
Yeah, that seems like something that... We know Patrick Cairns was here. The rum... the two glasses... You know, his relationship with Peter Carey. I don't see Liam Hurtley and Peter Carey sitting down to have a nice drink, you know? That definitely would not make sense at all. No, I think Patrick Cairns was a visitor. And Liam Hurtley... Oh, you know what? Maybe... Okay, let's try to recreate this a little bit. Let's see. Patrick Cairns and Peter Carey were having drinks in here. By this time, none of this existed. There was no blood anywhere. So, eventually Patrick Cairns decides to leave. Now we have footprints right here that are shown going directly towards this little shack. Now, Liam Hurtley, even though he might not have had a good relationship with Peter Carey, maybe they didn't really interact much, he would still probably have access, wouldn't he? He would have to have access to these different places for, like, gardening tools and other stuff because he works here.
It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Wait a minute. This is Peter Carey's private shack. So really, the only person who would have given access to the shack was Patrick Cairns. John Nelligan didn't really... Well, a little Nelligan wouldn't have been able to get in unless he really broke in, and we already saw that he had a shabby attempt at trying to. And then Liam Hurtley, I don't think would have had access because he's just a gardener. That's his shed over there. Wait, is Patrick Cairns really the murderer? Huh. There's also the box. I'm thinking about the box, but... Let's see. Oh, this is hard. So, Peter Carey was not an innocent man by any means. Okay, so thinking about this, maybe Cairns really is the murderer, because adding up all this evidence, I've already deduced that little Nelligan isn't the murderer. I can't believe that. I really can't. There's no way I feel like that he's the one who was able to, you know, murder a strong-looking sailor like Peter Carey in cold blood. Plus, there was 2 drinks in here, so that proves that Cairns was here, because he wouldn't have sat down for a drink with Hurtley, and there's no way he would have had a drink with little Nelligan. I feel like it has to be Cairns. I feel like it has to be. But it feels like it's too obvious. Like, we just got to talking to him.
Leave me alone, please.
Man, this is tough. Let's go to Scotland Yard, see if there's anything else we can do. If not, I'll be fine. Ah, man. I don't want to make a bad decision here. I'm really scared that I'm going to mess up terribly.
These are the suspect's belongings. A pen.
Yeah, there's nothing unusual about any of this.
These abbreviations. These are the a pocket knife. It was a handkerchief.
Well, we do know that Nelligan had to have broken in at one point to find what belonged to him, but he couldn't find it. So, yeah, I definitely feel he's innocent. Is the body here in the morgue now? No, it is not. Well, we really do have to make a decision, so let's go in here and let's... This is obviously the perfect place to do this. Let's do this. Stolen valuable papers. Valuable bond certificates were kept inside the stolen tin box. Break-in attempts were made in order to recover the notebook that had been lying in the pool of the victim's blood. This proves the guilt of the person who made these attempts. Nelligan was looking for his father's papers inside Black Peter's cabin. It explains his presence. Exactly. In turn, I believe Nelligan is innocent. Now... this would lead to saying Cairns is guilty. Ugh. I feel like it had to be somebody with feet of strength. Now, if we say pouch proves visit, then switching to this and then switching to this would lead to that. Oh wait, no. William Hurtley murdered Peter Carey. The motive was jealousy and his love for Carey's life. I don't feel like it was a lucky throw. I feel it had to be somebody with a degree of skill. Which means that it was harmless flirting. Which also means that the pouch proves the guilt. Peter Carey was murdered by Patrick Cairns. Cairns is a professional harpooner. His tobacco pouch was found inside Carey's cabin. Ugh! It's frustrating because I don't feel Cairns doesn't have as much of a reason for killing Peter Carey as opposed to Nelligan or Hurtley. Yet Cairns is the only one who would have the strength to be able to use a harpoon. Now we know that Peter Carey had a knife that he wasn't able to use. And we saw the rum. They were sharing tobacco. They probably got really drunk. Hurtley could have brought out the knife. Maybe the discussion of what happened set Peter Carey off, and he decided to pull out his weapon. And Cairns had no choice but to grab the close nearby harpoon and kill him, which would mean that the little notebook as well as the knife would have dropped. I think maybe the box was just a red herring the entire time because, let's see, Nelligan would have tried to break in to find it, but he couldn't find it. That's why he returned to the scene of the crime. The reason that we couldn't find it is because there was an affair going on. So the box was ended up being moved to the gardener's shed, which is the only thing that Hurtley could have had access to. Therefore, Nelligan couldn't find what he was looking for, and that also proves Hurtley's innocence, I think, because Hurtley wouldn't be sitting down drinking rum with him. It's either Cairns or Hurtley, I know that. I feel like if it is Cairns, we need to absolve him because it wasn't premeditated. I think it was self-defense against a drunken sailor. Maybe the guilt of what happened to Nelligan's father finally creeped in. I feel unsure. I feel like it's 50-50. It's either Cairns or it's either Hurtley. Let's do it. I'm not sure. If I made a bad call, then I made a bad call. But I hope I didn't. I feel like I did the very best that I possibly could. The next day.
Good afternoon. I must be at the wrong address. I'd like to speak with a ship's captain, a Captain Ahab. Is that you?
No, my name is Sherlock Holmes.
That detective fella? So, you wanted to see me?
That is correct. We need to talk.
About what?
About Black Peter, who was killed in his own hut with a harpoon.
You know, don't ya?
Yes.
How?
The tobacco pouch. You recognized it.
Oh, the sailor. It was you. Unbelievable. Well, fine. I confess. But if you really do know everything, you should also know that I didn't want to kill him. He made me do it.
I know. Did you know about this story with the bond certificates? Did you need money?
Yeah. I just wanted him to cough up a little silver. I'm out of work, and I thought maybe he could help me. Well, he refused outright, and he insulted me. I reminded him I knew all about that murder he committed at sea in 1883. Then he got mad when I spoke about his treasure. I barely just had time to throw the harpoon at him before he could jump at me with his knife. You know the truth. What will you do now?
I ask that you return the bond certificates. Keep some of them. You will need them in your exile. It is better that you leave the country for a few years.
And you won't say anything to the police?
I will not say anything as long as you return the money.
Well, I'll do as you ask. But what about Inspector Lestrade?
I will deal with him. Goodbye.
I was right!
It's good that you asked me to come, Mr. Holmes. We do need to talk.
About what?
What do you mean? Our case, Mr. Holmes. You sent me a message via your little thug.
His name is Wiggins, Inspector.
Telling me that the case is solved. Well, Mr. Holmes, tell me, who is our murderer and where is he?
The morgue.
Eh?
His name is, or rather was, Pablo Coventrao. He was also on the ship with Peter Carey, and he was a harpooner. I'll tell you everything, Inspector, but do calm down. Mrs. Hudson will bring us tea and orange cake.
Orange cake? You're spoiling me, Mr. Holmes. That's my favourite.
Another something.
Ah, Mr. Holmes. Inspector Lestrade told me that I should thank you for clearing my name. He also said that you were waiting for me here. I came as fast as I could. I cannot thank you enough. It is all because of you that this nightmare is finally over.
I believe that this belongs to you.
My father's securities. Incredible! But how did you get them?
It would take far too long to explain.
Tell me. This is extraordinary. You are a genius.
Then that may serve as an explanation. Goodbye, Mr. Nelligan, and good luck.
Goodbye, Mr. Holmes. And thank you. 1,000 times thank you.
Peter Carey was murdered by Patrick Cairns, a professional harpooner, the only one capable of executing such an accurate throw. His tobacco pouch was found inside Carey's cabin, but the murder was in self-defense against an armed and furious drunken sailor. You have decided to absolve Patrick Cairns. Clues found 16. Conclusion: Cairns is guilty. Moral choice: absolve Cairns. Space. Hold to check your conclusion. May spoil game experience. I was right. Yeah, it's green. I came to the correct conclusion, found all the clues that I needed. But I chose the moral choice because you know what? Patrick Cairns did not have the motive to just, murder him in cold blood. There was no way. The knife told me everything. That something had to have been said in order to tip Peter Carey over the edge. I actually solved the case. Oh, yes! That's so awesome. Yes. Personality ranking, sympathizing. 77% people solved the case the same way. Okay, so I was in the majority. People who made the same moral choice, 63%. A little bit more towards the middle. Seems like a little bit less than half of you guys actually decided to punish him to the fullest extent of the law. I'm glad I made the choice though. I'm glad I came out in the majority for once. Holy crap. This usually never happens to me. You can find gameplay or interface instructions by pressing F.
This trip to the countryside will be good for you, Holmes. As your friend and your doctor, I really do recommend that you give yourself a complete change of scene. Fresh air, brisk walks, bird watching, chopping wood.
Sounds intolerable. I mean, certainly it sounds delightful.
But you haven't yet told me who your friend is, the one we're going to visit.
He is a bee lover.
A bee lover? Do you mean that he keeps bees? That must be Mrs. Hudson, bringing the warm cloth that I requested.
There is someone to see you, Mr. Holmes.
I have no time. Send whoever it is away.
Yes, Holmes, I really think we ought to leave now.
Mycroft.
Sherlock.
Oh, Mr. Holmes? Perhaps you don't remember me. I'm Dr. Watson. We met at the Diogenes Club a few years ago. I documented our encounter in a short story I gave the title The Greek Interpreter.
He does remember you, Watson. My brother remembers everything, and that is why he is so valuable to the government.
We're about to depart for the train station.
I know.
You know?
Sherlock, I need your help. There are people who presently threaten both our country and the Crown itself. You must help us with those methods of yours.
Need help. Those are not words I would readily associate with you, Mycroft.
I wrote you a letter, but you did not reply. And this is not about politics. It's about people. People similar to those whom you pretend to defend in your petty detective affairs.
Everything is about politics with you, Mycroft. I'm not interested. Have some of your agents, your spies, or worse, undertake this job of yours. You are defending your people, and they have little to do with the people I choose to help, I can assure you.
That is the point. You think exactly as they do.
Who are they?
The Merry Men. He is talking about the Merry Men, a band of idealistic terrorists.
Sherlock, do please think about it. They are planning something diabolical. Your country needs you.
You need me, Mycroft, and you are not the country. Although if your waistline expands very much further...
Mrs. Hudson, tea will not be necessary. Dr. Watson, the train conductor, Mr. Parker, is aware that you will be 7 minutes late. You are in the 4th car. The train will be waiting for you. Sherlock, enjoy your time in Staffordshire. And do, please, at least write to me on your return.
Jesus. Souvenir. Harpoon that was used to kill Black Peter. Oh, goody! I'm glad I get to keep a murder weapon as a souvenir. Boy, oh boy, I'm so happy. I don't have anything going on right now. Oh, who's a good boy?
Look after Mrs. Hudson for us, Toby.
Let's see if there's anything around here. Let's not talk to anyone.
My analysis.
Shut up. Why would I even say that?
My archive. This is where I keep...
I have some letters here. The grotesque murder of the former Captain Peter Carey has been resolved. Evidence that Scotland Yard received from a trustworthy source was more than sufficient to conclude that the murderer of Peter Carey was Pablo Coventral, one of Carey's former harpooners. However, lawful justice could not be awarded. He was found dead of natural causes, possibly from his remorse at committing such a terrible crime. Alright, so that is the result of my handiwork. Can I change into something that's... Let's see, farmer's outfit. Can I at least get a different hat? Ew. Well, I guess I'll go with what they want me to. And it doesn't seem like I can really play around with my attire unless it suits. And unless I need to, like, go undercover. Alright, guys. That is the end of the Peter Carey case. The case of Black Peter. If you guys have enjoyed, I encourage you to leave likes and comments, as it helps and benefits the growth of the channel. I am Sherlock Rye, signing out. Do have a good evening, gentlemen. I will see you all for the next video.
We'll be right back.